EVRODY in this room has been nurkin broke, maybe betrayed. Maybe you could failed so hard you could feel the ground laugh at you. But let me tell you something a far back. It's your life saying, hey, there's more in you. Ladies and gentlemen, today isn't just about motivation. Today we talk about how to turn pain into power, VR into fuel, and Setbacks K's into the greatest. You're ready? Yes. Say crowd, yes. Say it like your future depends on it. Yes. Crowd, yes. Or let's dive in. Have you ever noticed how you're a notice boy you feel in a single moment? Maybe you woke up late, spilled your coffee, missed the bus, and suddenly the whole day feels like a disaster story. Not the events that determine your reality, it's the state you're in when they happen. Your emotional state is the lens through your life, and the most powerful truth you can ever learn is this: you have the power to change your state instantly. Imagine this: you're stuck in traffic, late, frustrated. You're gripping the steering wheel like it owes you money, breathing shallow, thoughts racing. At that moment, your brain isn't working, impatient, maybe even angry. And here's what most people do. They stay in that state. They let it own them. They carry that energy into their workplace and into every decision they make that day. It's a domino effect. But what if you stopped right there? Control. What if you sat up, rolled your shoulders back, took a few deep, powerful breaths, turned on music that lights you up, and in control of how I feel, not my circumstances. That single shift in physiology, your breath, your posture, your movement can start a domino effect. You move differently, you think more clearly, you speak more intentionally, you start to feel good, not because you changed your state. Tony Robbins says, motion creates emotion. That's not just a catchy phrase. It's biology. Your body is the remote control. If you're feeling low, sad, anxious, look at how you're sitting, breathing, walking. Most people slump when they're feeling defeat, shallow. Their eyes are down. But if you stand up tall, taking deep breaths, smile, you literally send something that say, I'm okay, I'm powerful, I've got this. Let me take you to a story of a young man named Marcus. He was laid off during the pandemic, savings vanished, and every morning he'd wake up staring at the ceiling with dread. For weeks, he did nothing but sit in silence, his life go on pause, until one day he stood in front of the mirror and said, if I don't move, I won't make it. He didn't know what to do, his tear. But he knew one thing. He could move his body. He started going on long walks, then runs. He began journaling, breathing deeply, cold showers. No, these dial his problems overnight, but they changed his state. From that state, he saw possibilities again. He got ideas. He felt alive again. Within 6 months, he's from his kitchen that now supports his family. Not because the world changed, because he did. Think about it. When do you make your worst decisions? Fear, anger, sadness. When do you make your best decisions? When you're confident, clear, energized. That's not magic. That's that state. And you do it for a perfect situation to find it. You can create it anytime, anywhere. Let me ask you, have you ever watched a Lala horribly in the first half, then comes back with fire in the second half and wins the game? Do you think their skills magically doing? No. But the coach probably didn't walk into the locker room and say, well, guys, we suck. No. They shifted their state. They reminded themselves who they are. They screamed louder, looked each other in the eye and said, we're not done yet. That shift, that's a comeback engine. That is what changes the game. Now in your daily life, what does this mean for you? It means before you send that angry text or to your partner, check your state. Before you walk into a job interview, elevate your state. Before you give up on your dream, shift your state. Do 10 jumping jacks in the mirror. Dance like a lunatic for 30 seconds. Whatever it takes, you interrupt the old pattern and you install a new one, because your story's to shift to. You're no longer the victim. You're the warrior. You're no longer helpless. You're resourceful. You start to see a port where there was only darkness. You start to speak life into your circumstances instead of death. All because you took ownership and then control at any moment. Your state, the real magic isn't in motivation. It's in momentum. And momentum begins with movement. Move your breath, of your focus. So the next time life hits you hard, don't just sit there, stand up, move, breathe, smile, shout if you need to. Remind your body of lives inside you, because when you change your state, you don't just feel better. you become better. And that's how comebacks begin. It's a word we all know too well. Our entire lives running from it, numbing it, denying it, distracting ourselves with noise, with scrolling, with food, with business. We treat pain like an enemy. But what if I told you pain isn't your enemy? What if I told you that pain is the most honest, most loyal, most relentless teacher? Not the problem. Avoiding it is. When something hurts, it's easy to think life is punishing you. You lose your job, pain. A relation foils, pain. And instantly we ask, why me? Shut down. We cover the wound without ever cleaning it. And guess what? It doesn't go away. I was like, again in the next job, the next relationship, the next attempt. Because the pain hasn't been healed. It's only been buried. But here's the is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this pain trying to teach me? Becomes your power. Let's take a real life example. There was a woman named Alina. She went through a brutal divorce after Zoe. The betrayal rocked her world. For months, she was angry, confused, broken. She couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. She lost weight. She isolated her question. How could he do this to me? But one morning, she sat down with her journal and asked, can this pain teach me? And in that quiet, uncomfortable moment, answers started coming. She realized she had abandoned herself for years and her values to keep the peace. She saw how she had avoided hard conversations, ignored red flags, and neglected her own growth. That truth out. It was raw, and it set her free. That's what pain does when you lean in. Pain will show you the patterns you're repeating. Pain will expose the parts of you that need healing. Pain will illuminate the lessons you learned, but absolutely needed to. You see, pain has no filter, doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter. It tells you what you need to hear. No. But here's the catch, pain won't speak until you're willing to listen. Think about how the body works. When your hand touches something hot, it's pulling at you, but to protect you, it's your body's way of saying, this is dangerous. Pay attention. Emotional pain works this way. Something's out of alignment. Don't ignore this. But we drown it out with distractions. We treat our pain like a stranger when it should treat like a signal. Let's bring this into the everyday. You go through a breakup and you instantly try to fill methane the parties with anything to avoid feeling. But that pain is trying to tell you something. Maybe it's revealing that you were seeking yourself. Maybe it's waking you up to love yourself in a way you never have before. Or maybe you failed a business you pour yourself tough. The pain said, you're not good enough. That's what you hear. But if you interrogate the pain, dig into it, ask it questions, you might discover you might trust my gut when I should have. I was playing small. I was afraid to delegate. Now, maybe the pain is a life sentence. Not in interrogated becomes wisdom. Pain listened to becomes strength. Pain honored becomes fuel. Let me make this personal. There was a time in my life when I was broke emotionally. I had lost direction, confidence, and self-worth. I blamed the world. I numbed the pain with business and distractions. Until one day someone asked me what to give you something, not take something away. That flipped a switch. Started journaling. Meditating. Asking the hard questions. Slowly the pin's aching. And it didn't say, you're worthless. It said, you're growing. It said, it's time to rise. And that pain became your secret. You can't heal what you won't feel. And you can't transform what you refuse to confront. The greatest comebacks in life are never built on confronting your deepest pain and turning it into your deepest power. That's the alchemy of transformation of your pain. Sit with it. Look in the eye and say, okay, I'm listening. Ask it, what am I afraid of? What have I been avoiding? What needs to bride? That pain is a mess of truth. A breakthrough waiting to be born. You are not weak because you hurt. You are human. But the ones who rise, who come back stronger, they are the ones who choose to face their pain, not flee from it. So the next time pain comes knocking, to invite it in. Ask it why it's here. Because pain that's processed becomes peace, and peace becomes power. And that power is the fuel for your comeback. There comes a moment in every person's deciding, are you interested in your dream or are you committed to it? Maybe because that was your old story. Yeah, because there's a world of different. Be interested. You'll do what's convenient. When you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes. That's what burn the boats is all about. It's a Jack K phrase. It's a declaration of war against your excuses. The phrase, burn the boats, Leaders like Alexander the Great and Heraclius. When Quartz arrived in the New World with the Yogan opposition, he gave an unthinkable command: burn the boats. Why? Because retreat was no longer an option. The only path left was forward. Win or deed, that intensity, that level of commitment turns ordinary people into legends. And in our lives, that same mentality is what separates people who transform. So many people don't achieve what they want, not because they're incapable, because they keep giving themselves a backup plan. They chase a goal with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. They say, I want to start a business, but they keep job they hate without taking bold steps. They say, I want to get in shape, but they don't cancel the bad habits. Deep down, they're holding onto the boat, just in case. But that boat, that plan B, that just what's keeping you from rising. You can't move fully forward while still looking over your shoulder. You can't soar while dragging the safety new guy behind you. Let me tell you about a guy named Jay. Jay had a 9-to-5 job in finance. Comfortable, decent pay. Nothing thought was music. He writes in late at night, perform at local bars, post covers line. But he never really went all in. Why? Because the job was safe. The paycheck's reliable. The boat was relying on him. And every time he thought about quitting to pursue music, fear would creep in. What if I fail? Then if it COVID like that, the safety boat was gone. And suddenly he was faced with a choice: rebuild the same life, or finally go after the one he always wanted. He sold his car, moved into a tiny apartment, and gave himself one mission: make music or go broke trying. Fast forward 2 years, Jay is now writing, performing on national stages. Not because he got lucky, but because he burned the boat. When there was no fallback, he found fuel. When there was no way forward, there's something sacred about commitment at that level. It awakens something primal. It activates your resourcefulness. When your brain stops asking, what's safe? And starts asking, what will it take? And that sheep, bolts are born. Think about it. How would you show up if failure wasn't an option? How would you speak, move, act? If you knew the only direction was forward, you wouldn't procrastinate. Care what people thought. You'd be in, fully, deeply, undeniably in. This doesn't mean you should be reckless, be relentless. It means you stop feeding the doubt. You stop making your back plan stronger than your dream. You stop building exits and start building it practical. You say you want to write a book, delete the Netflix app, wake up an hour earlier, block your calendar, create deadlines, tell everyone on the boat. You say you want to launch a business, stop researching and start reaching out, invest real money, announce it publicly, make it so uncomfortable's the only option. That's burning the boat. Even in your relationships, are you halfway in? 1 foot in, 1 foot out, waiting for a sign. Burn fully or walk away with clarity. Indecision, its own prison. It's scary to let out the safety net. But ask yourself, is that safety actually saving you? When you burn the boats, you show the universe and yourself that you're serious, that you're not here to dabble. You're not here to see if it might work. You're here to make it work. And that fire, the one that comes where a boat door, is the same fire that forgets greatness. Remember, comfort zones are beautiful places. Burn the boats, make the leap, go all in. Because the comeback you're waiting for, total commitment. And the moment you stop looking for a way out is the moment you finally find your way through. Every single one of us is living according to us. We tell ourselves about who we are, what we deserve, what's possible, and what's not. But here most of the problem. For most, written by someone else. By a parent who said, you're not smart enough. By a teacher who labeled you average. By society telling you what success, failure, heartbreak, and trauma whispering. See, you're not good enough. And over time, we start believing it. We repeat the lines. We rehearse the do it. We forget the most powerful truth of our law. You are the author of your own life narrative at any moment. Let me say that again. You can rewrite your story at any moment. Maybe your past is not a life sentence. It's over. Unless you stop turning the pages, think about it like this. Your mind is like a projector. Maybe every story you're playing on the outside. If your inner story says, I'm a failure, you'll walk into every opportunity, expect to fail. If it says, people always leave me, you'll sabotage relationships to confirm that belief. If it says, I'm not worthy of success, not because you can't rise, but because you believe you don't deserve to. But what happens when you change that enters when you take the pen back? Let me introduce you to Sam. Sam was a college dropout, working 2 part-time jobs, just his story. I'm just not cut out for more. That's what he told himself every time he saw someone doing better. That's what echoed in his mind whenever he tries something new. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't stupid. He was just stuck in this that wasn't true. One night, while scrolling through videos, he heard say, "You're not broken. You're just living by an old script." That hit him like a punch in the chest. For the first time, he realized he had been living a lie lived by fear. So he decided to rewrite it. He wrote down a new script. I'm resourceful. I'm powerful. I'm building something that matters. He think that loud. He started acting like it was true, even before it felt true. And that shift changed his life. Within a year, Sam launched an online service business, started mentoring other people stuck in their own old scripts. Did his circumstances magically change overnight? No. His story did. And when you change your behavior, your choices, your outcomes, this is what people don't realize. Your mind will fight to prove your story right. But empowering or disempowering, your subconscious will find ways to confirm it. That's why someone with a victim story keep the same painful situations. That's why someone who believes success in me never applies for the promotion. The story becomes the filter. But if you change the story, you change the filter. And sudden hornets where you once saw obstacles. Let me ask you, what's the story you've been telling yourself? Is it one of defeat? No, I always mess this. It's a limitation. I'm just not meant for that kind of life. Or did it want to fear? If I try, I'll probably fail. Whatever it is, not the truth. It's a story. And stories can be rewritten. Start by becoming aware of it. Catch yourself when you're in those moments where it's into the old narrative. Then pause. Ask yourself, is this story serving me or suffocating me? Next, replace it. Write a new story, not a fantasy, but a vision you become, and speak it out loud. Act on it, even if it feels fake at first. Keep going. Because repetition reprograms. And over time, the new story becomes the great comeback. Athlete, entrepreneur, artist, survivor. Maybe the turning point always comes when they stop the misery they were given and start living the one they were born to write. J.K. Rowling was a single mother on welfare reading Harry Potter. Her story could have been, I'm broke, struggling, and invisible, but she wrote a different one and changed the word. It was born into poverty, abused as a child, and constantly told she'd never be anything. But she didn't let that become her story. She became one of the most powerful women on earth. These people aren't exceptions. They are examples. Examples of what happens when you reclaim your aeration. So today, take the pen back, look at the pages you've lived through, the pain, the mistakes, the fear, and instead of them as proof that you can. Every scar is a sentence. Their failure is a paragraph. Every setback is a plot twist. And the greatest part of your story has to, and yet, remember this, you're not too late or too broken. You're just one choice away from a new chapter. One decision to stop being decision, become the author of your own masterpiece. You have the pen. You have the page. Now it's time to rewrite the narrative. The quality of your life is directly the questions you ask yourself every single day. That might sound simple, but it's powerful beyond words. Questions are not just thoughts. Your brain, like the most loyal assistant in the world, will go looking for answers whether you realize it or not. Here's the kicker. Most people they don't even know it. They wake up in the morning and subconsciously ask things like, why am I so tired? Or why does nothing ever, what is wrong with me? And guess what? The brain starts answering. Well, you're tired because your life is a mess. Because you're not smart enough. You're broken. That's what's wrong. Sound familiar? The human mind is a meaning-making machine. Your brain goes to work finding meaning, connecting dots, solving problem. But if you ask low-quality questions, you get low-quality answers. And create low-energy lives. The moment you flip that script, everything better questions, everything begins to change. That's the spark of the comeback. Let me take you into a real life story. The woman named Tasha. She had just gone through a business failure. After pouring her heart, soul, and savings into her dream, crashed. She lost everything up crying. The same question haunted her every day. Why did this happen to me? Her mind, loyal as ever, served up answers. You weren't good enough. You never will. But one night, in the middle of another sleepless, tear-filled breakdown, she asked a new question. What is list me here now? That question cracked open a different part of her mind. It didn't erase the pain, but it shifted her focus. Instead of obsessing over what she lost, she gained experience, clarity, strength. She realized she had played small in her business. She had partnered with people she died in her gut. Painful truths, yes, but they were also powerful lessons. And that one better question, what is to trust me, helped her build something even better. Now, Tasha runs a successful online brain preppreneurs navigate the emotional roller coaster of building a business. Her comeback didn't start with a strategy. It started with a question. The question, and your focus determines your emotional state. Focus is everything. You want to feel overwhelmed? Ask, how am I going to handle all this? Inspire, ask you, what can I control right now? Here's the secret most people miss. Your brain will answer any question you feel is destructive. So instead of asking questions that shrink your perspective, start asking ones that expand it. Ask questions that build hope, creativity. Here are some powerful examples instead of, why is this happening to me? Ask, how has this happened for me? What did I learn? Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, what if this is the beginning of my great spring up? Ask, how can I, with what I have, where I am? Let's bring it closer to everyday life. Imagine you're having a rough morning. Spilled coffee, traffic jam, missed appointment. Most people would ask, why does this stuff always happen to me? That creates frustration. But if instead you ask, how can I turn this around? Or what can I about right now? Why? You change your entire emotional state. Or maybe you're struggling with self-worth. You catch yourself thinking, why am I terrible question? Your brain will answer it with every insecurity you've ever known. But if you ask, what's one thing I did right this week? People who love me seeing me. You start to shift. Better questions lead to better thoughts. Better thoughts lead to better actions and a better life. There's a story about Thomas Edison when his factory burned down in 1914, destroying years of work. Most people would have collapsed, but Edison questioned. He said, thank all our mistakes burned down. Now we can start fresh. That's the power turn tragedy into transformation. Tony Robbins often says, successful people ask better questions. And as a result, they get better. Original quote. It's a roadmap. The ability to ask a new question in the face, the foundation of every comeback story ever told. So next time life knocks you down, before you complain, before you cry, pause. Take a breath, and you better question. One that points toward growth, toward wisdom, toward possibility. Because sometimes, maybe the answer you've been searching for is just a question away. Just the word alone can send sheer spine, can it? It feels final, painful, like a big red stamp of not good enough on the story of your life. Most of us were taught to failure there. Study hard enough. In your job, it could mean losing everything. In relationships, it could mean heartbreak. And somewhere along the way, we started to believe it wasn't just something that happens. We began to believe it's something that defines us. But here's the truth. Failure is not a deal. It's not rejection, it's redirection. And if you're willing to look closely, every failure you've ever had was full just lessons and gifts that were waiting for you to notice them. Maybe the difference between people who bounce that the successful ones never fail, it's they learn to treat failure as feedback. Think about a GPS. When you make a wrong turn, it doesn't scream at you or shut down your car. It simply recalculates. Make a U-turn routing. That's supposed to work, not as an ending, but as data, as information. It's life saying, that path didn't work. Try another. But most people entry, I'm going to say, I'm a failure. They let the moment become their identity. That's not failure. That's interpretation. That's a choice. You are never the Vince. Your response is where your comeback begins. Let me tell you about Anthony. Anthony spent 4 years building a fit, passionate, skilled, and obsessed with helping people transform their lives. But he was struggling financially. One launch failed, then another, draining his savings and maxing out credit cards. He hit a wall. He felt embarrassed, lost, and ashamed. His inner voice said, maybe you're not meant for this, maybe not to win. That could have been the end. But one day, while journaling, he asked a game-changing question. What if this failure isn't about me? Process. That question cracked open his awareness. He realized he had been trying to do everything alone. No mentorship, no men feedback, and passion without a plan is like fire without fuel. He didn't quit. He studied what didn't work. He reached out to experts. He invested, took his approach, and within a year, he went from broke to six figures. Same man, same mission, different mindset. He turned failure into feedback. That's where it feels personal, but most of the time, it's not about who you are. It's about what you did, and that can be adjusted, rewritten. Found the courage to step back and ask, what is this teaching me? Think about your own life. How many times have you failed at something, a dream, and instead of asking what you could learn, you asked what was wrong with you? You beat yourself up. You told yourself a story isn't growth. But imagine flipping that script. Instead of, I failed, say, I just found a way that didn't work. Instead of, this proves I'm not good enough, say, this proves I'm learning what does will. Failure doesn't feel, of course, but growth rarely does. Muscles don't grow without strain. Calluses don't form without friction, without mistakes. Even some of the greatest minds in history failed. Repeatedly. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times and been bold. When asked how it felt to fail, that many times he famously said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with one set mindset of a comeback creator. You see, failure is never fatal unless you let it stop you. It only becomes final when you stop listening to tell you. Every rejection is feedback. Every misstep is feedback. Every no, every delay, every disappointment. It's all feedback. You become unstoppable. Let's make it real. Let's say you gave a presentation and it bombed. People look bored. The client did boing. I suck at speaking. Or you could analyze it. Was my message clear? Did I connect emotionally? Did I rehearse enough? That break when you mine it for wisdom. Or maybe you launched a product and no one bought it. Ouch. That hurts. But instead of quitting, ask, is the offer clear? Did I soar clear? Reach the right audience. Now you're not failing. You're refining. Every master was once disaster. Every success you is on difference. They didn't stop. They didn't label themselves. They didn't shrink. Maybe they studied their setbacks like science as knowledge is rocket fuel. So here's the true thing. If you want a powerful comeback, stop fearing failure and start part your couch. Let it whisper. Not this way. Try again. Let it mold you, sharpen you, humble you, and prepare you. Because the failure isn't what defines you. Your does. So stand tall, look failure in the face and say, thank you for the feedback. Now watch me rise. Resilience. It's the invisible armor. It's what separates the people who get knocked down and stay down from the ones who rise again. Tougher, wiser, and more dangerous than ever before. But again and again, because let's face it, life isn't always fair. It won't always go your way. Maybe they have plans that fall apart. You'll may betray you. You don't work out. That's not personal. That's life. Maybe the people who make it through are luckiest, smartest. They're the ones who build relentless resilience. Let me be clear. Resilience is not about pretending to be. It's not about putting on a fake smile while you're crumbling inside. Real resilience isn't about suppressing your pain, pushing through. It's about bending but not breaking. It's about saying, I may not feel strong right now, but is that quiet voice at 2 a.m. that says, get up, try again, one more time. Let's talk about Maya. She was a single mother, working jobs, jog to school at night. Every day was a grind. Wake up early, get the kids ready, work all day, study at night. There were moments she cried on the kitchen floor, wondered she'd ever get a break. And then, out of nowhere, her car broke down. No money to fix it. She was at her breaking point. And it was Maya did. She asked neighbors for rides, took the bus in the rain, stayed up later to finish assignments. Her classmates had no idea what she was battling. She stayed in the game. Fast forward 5 years, Maya is a successful entrepreneur, running her own consulting firm and mentor because she never struggled, but because she refused to surrender. That's resilience. That's comeback energy. See, resilience isn't something you're born with. It's like a muscle. And the way you build it is by choosing to rise every time life tries to knock you down. You don't even have to be confident. You just have to be committed. Let's bring it even closer to home. Think about a time in your life when they were hard and you lost someone you loved. Maybe you lost a job you cared about. Maybe you made a mistake that nearly crushed you. It felt like the end. But somehow you're still here. You're reading this. You're breathing. You're moving forward. That right there, that's resilience. You might have seen it back then, but every time you chose to get out, every time you smiled for your kids, even your world was falling apart. Ever you showed up when quitting would have been easier. You were building resilience. And here's what's wild your brain, and every time you overcome something, it rewires you. You're literally building a story hideout. It's like emotional calusas. And guess what? Those calusas don't make you hard. That doesn't mean resilience is glamorous. Sometimes it looks like crying in your car during lunch. Sometimes it looks like showing up late up. Sometimes it looks like telling yourself, just one more hour, one more day. But that willingness to give up, that's what transforms pressure into power. Resilience also means refusing to let it term as a permanent mindset. Just because today is hard doesn't mean tomorrow won't be better. Just because one season feels dark does your won't return. But the light doesn't come to those who stop walking. It comes to those who keep stepping. Even Ed, let me remind you of something powerful. A comeback doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require endless motivation. It requires heart. It requires the kind of stubborn courage that says, no matter what happens, I'm not done yet. There's a reason the vibest roots, they've survived storms. They've been tested by wind, rain, and drought. They didn't get strong by avoiding it, enduring it. You are the same. Your setbacks, they're not signs that you're weak. They're reps in the gym of life, shipping you unfakeable. So when life hits, and it will, I want you to stop and say to yourself, this is the moment I grow stronger. Use it. Let it build you. Let it forge something inside you that no one can take away. Because once you know how to rise, it does many times you fall. That's what relentless resilience is. It's not about having an easy life. It's about becoming the kind of person who kind of life throws your way and still rise with fire in your eyes. So stand tall. Feel everything. Cry if you need to. Scream if you must. But whatever you do down, because with resilience in your soul, every setback comes a setup for your greatest comeback. Let me ask you something powerful. What's lighting you up? What's lighting you up from the inside out? If your answer is nothing, then it's no wonder life feels like a struggle. Because here's the truth. People don't burn out because they're doing too much. They burn out because they're doing a little to feel alive. They're pushing through life instead of being pulled by a vision that excites them. A vision so magnetic, so meaningful, so deeply rooted, there stops being an option. When you have a vision that pulls you, obstacles shrink, energy expands. Excuses disappear. You stop waking up wondering what the wonking up asking. What can I build today? That's the shift from survival mode to significance mode. And that shift is where every great comeback is not a fantasy. It's not some faraway dream you wish might happen someday. A true vision is clear, compelling, and deeply personal. It's not just about followers. It's about who you want to become, how you want to live, and the impact you want to make. Your vision, a wish, it's a direct direction. You have power. Let me share a story. There's a guy named Marcus. He used to work a job he hated. Long hours, toxic environment, no purposely, mindlessly through social media, fall asleep and repeat the cycle the next day. Sound familiar? He wasn't lazy, he was lost. He had no vision, just survival. One day, Marcus stumbled across an old notebook where he'd written dreams as a teenager. He'd read things like, help people become a motivational speaker. And it hit him like a ton of bricks. He had stopped dreaming. Somewhere along the way, he traded vision. There was still there, buried beneath the ashes of routine. That night, he created a new vision, a detailed one, not just a goal, but a lifestyle. He wrote goal up what his ideal business would look like, how he'd feel walking into his gym, how he'd speak life into people. He believed it, even though nothing in his current life matched it, and something shifted. He started waking up earlier, training harder. He took certificates and started a fitness channel, and within 2 years, launched a coaching program that now serves hundreds. He didn't get lucky. He didn't win the lottery. He created a value that pulled him of mediocrity and into momentum. That's what a vision does. It pulls you forward when life wants you to live vision. You don't have reactive. You move based on problems, not possibilities. You drift You repeat. You feel stuck because nothing is pull you. You can't build a comeback when you're drifting. You build it when you're anchored to some circumstances. Think of vision like your internal GPS. You don't need to know every turn, but you need to know the destination. You're clear where your mind energy, your habits start aligning to get you there. Life starts to filter your choices. Does this take me closer to my vision, or already breathes power? Creating a vision isn't about perfection. It's about permission. To want more, to believe bigger. Maybe that was your old story. To imagine beyond the pain you vision isn't even about you. It's about the lives you'll touch, the people you'll inspire, the legacy you'll leave. You won't overcome booze. Stop focusing only on what you lost and start focusing on what you're building. Let your future pull you harder than you louder than your doubts. You don't need to know how it's all going to happen. You just need to see it clearly enough that it makes sense. When the why is strong, the how will reveal itself over time. But it starts with giving yourself permission to dream again. And if you feel like your dream is too big, remember every great thing you've ever admired started as someone's vision. Elon Musk envisioned Mars before he built one before she had a mic. The Wright brothers envisioned flight when no one even believed it was possible. Your vision doesn't have to impress the work, and just start walking you. So tonight, carve out time, shut out the noise, put your phone down, ask yourself, what kind of life do I really want to become? What legacy do I want to leave behind? And when the answers come, write them down. Speak them out loud. See them every day. Because when you create you don't just get up in the morning, you rise. You don't just survive hard times, you grow through them. You don't just make a comeback for it. The future isn't waiting for someone more talented, more lucky, or more connected. It's waiting for you to claim it, to chase, and it starts with a vision that pulls you